Essential advice from someone who's been there. The midlife crisis after 50. Here's what smart people do to prepare for it. How many decades do we really have? There's a popular saying online, how many 10-year spans do we get in life? Most people are lucky to get just 7 or 8 10-year spans, short decades to live a full life. That's it. In this limited time, we experience waves of joy and sorrow, success and failure, love and heartbreak. These moments, both sweet and bitter, are what make up the story of our lives. So let me ask you, what part of your life has been the happiest? And what part has felt the heaviest? For many people, the answer is clear. The happiest days often come before turning 30. Why? Because we're still young. We have the energy. We have a sense of fearlessness. And more importantly, many of us still have protection and support of our parents. Even if we don't know where we're headed, we believe we can find our way. But after 50, that's a different chapter. The harsh reality after 50. From the outside, turning 50 can seem like a milestone to be proud of, but for many, it's a silent threshold into a season of hardship. After 50, our bodies begin to wear down. Energy becomes a precious resource. Health starts to falter. And once illness sets in, problems rarely come alone. It's like opening a floodgate. One issue triggers another. And before we know it, we're juggling pills, doctor visits, and medical bills. Just look at David Thompson, a 54-year-old former warehouse supervisor in Ohio. 1 minute, he was managing shifts and working overtime. The next, a back injury and type 2 diabetes forced him into early retirement. He lost his job, his savings, and worst of all, his sense of purpose. David never thought he'd be this vulnerable, not this soon. This isn't just a story. It's the story of millions of Americans. Why is this happening? Because in this fast-paced, high-pressure world, society doesn't slow down for anyone, especially not for people over 50. And so, we must be ready. Facing the midlife storm, the 3 great burdens. Let's talk about the 3 biggest battles we face after 50 and how we can prepare for them. Burden 1, the harsh truth about retirement. Is it really possible to retire peacefully in America today? With every passing year, it's becoming harder to imagine. Why? Because the retirement system is under strain. People are living longer while birth rates are falling. That means fewer young workers are entering the system, while more seniors are collecting Social Security and Medicare. Now think about this. If you're like Linda Martinez, a 62-year-old administrative assistant from New Jersey who spent 35 years working, you might have expected a comfortable retirement. But inflation has eaten into her savings. Medical costs are rising, and her adult children, both still paying off student loans, need her help with childcare. So instead of winding down, Linda works weekends at a local bookstore just to get by. Meanwhile, corporate America has quietly pushed older workers to the margins. There's an unwritten rule in many industries. Once you're over 50, unless you're in a top leadership position, you're replaceable. You probably heard stories like Gregory Holmes, a 57-year-old former tech project manager in Seattle, who was let go during a restructure and hasn't landed a full-time role in 2 years. Despite decades of experience, no one's hiring. What happens when society decides it no longer needs you, but your bills keep piling up? It's cruel, and it's real. Burden 2, the health and mental breakdown. In recent years, we've seen a rise in middle-aged Americans dying before they even reach retirement. Yes, life expectancy has technically gone up, but averages can be misleading. If someone lives to 90 and someone else dies at 50, the average is still 70. But does that reflect your personal risk? Not necessarily. Many people over 50 are literally working themselves to death. They push through exhaustion. They ignore chest pains. They dismiss stress as just part of life, all because they have responsibilities, mortgages, elderly parents, college tuition for their kids. Take Karen Daniels, a 58-year-old caregiver from Georgia. She developed high blood pressure and chronic fatigue from working 2 jobs. Eventually, the stress led to stroke. She survived, but recovery has been long and expensive. And still, the bills don't stop. Mental health is another silent epidemic. Depression and anxiety are skyrocketing among people in their 50s because they're stuck between generations supporting aging parents and grown children, while also trying to keep their own lives afloat. This is why the phrase "torn between roots and blossoms," caring for those who raise me and those I raise, resonates so deeply. It perfectly captures the emotional weight of being sandwiched between generations. And when you add in loans, mortgages, and healthcare costs, the burden becomes unbearable. Burden 3, drowning in debt with nothing to show. This is perhaps the most tragic part, working your whole life and having nothing to show for it. Many people over 50 are living paycheck to paycheck, even after decades of hard work. How does that happen? Let's break it down. You help your kids with college tuition. Your daughter, Emily Johnson, wants to go to a good school, so you co-sign on her $80,000 student loan. You help your son, Matthew Brown, buy a home. You sell your retirement property to give him a down payment in Austin. You still pay off your own mortgage. Your adjustable rate loan just went up again. Grocery prices keep climbing. Gas isn't getting cheaper. Insurance premiums went up. Your employer? Still no raise in 3 years. But bonuses? They've been cut. Meanwhile, everyone seems to want a piece of your wallet. One way or another, they're lining up to profit from your effort and sacrifice. The university system is designed to drain your savings. Real estate developers build wealth, but often not yours. Insurance companies collect premiums, but offer little in return. And employers who stall your raise? They benefit while you bear the cost. But here's the painful truth. You're not an endless source of income. You're not a bottomless well. You're human, and you have limits. By the time you hit 55, many people feel squeezed dry, and the worst part, you realize that despite all your sacrifice, your children may still struggle. That realization cuts deeper than any layoff or bill. What can we do about it? 3 critical steps. Let me be clear, this isn't about giving up. This is about waking up and planning wisely. Here are 3 powerful steps every person over 50 must take today. Step 1, embrace a low-desire lifestyle. In today's world, it seems like more is better is the underlying mantra. More things, more fame, more success, more experiences. Everywhere we look, society encourages us to constantly chase after bigger homes, fancier cars, and an ever-growing list of possessions and accomplishments. But here's the truth that many of us don't realize until later in life. This pursuit of more can be detrimental, especially as we age. After 50, this mindset can slowly erode your peace, your finances, and even your soul. The constant striving for more doesn't lead to fulfillment. It often leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. Now is the time to slow down, not to stop dreaming, but to change the way you dream. This is the moment to embrace a life with less desire, but more meaning. In the past, people didn't need nearly as much to live fulfilling lives. Think about it. Just 1,000 years ago, our ancestors lived without the endless consumerism that dominates modern life. They didn't have the pressure to buy the latest tech gadgets or to keep up with the neighbor's ever-changing possessions. What did they have instead? A deep connection to what truly mattered: family, nature, purpose, and community. They found meaning in simplicity. This isn't about rejecting progress or denying yourself pleasures, but rather recognizing that true happiness doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from simplifying our desires and aligning them with what genuinely brings us peace and joy. Think about the Japanese concept of ikigai, which translates to a reason for being. It's about finding that sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you could be paid for intersect. It's not about striving for more for the sake of it, but about living a life of purpose and balance. You don't need the biggest house or the latest model of everything to feel fulfilled. In fact, it's quite the opposite. True contentment is often found in having less. The idea of needing constant stuff to validate our success is an illusion. When we strip away the distractions, we make room for what truly matters: meaningful relationships, personal growth, health, and inner peace. These things don't come with price tags, and they don't require a lifetime of struggle to attain. Let go of the urge to compete. If your neighbor Tom buys a brand new RV, that's his choice. If your co-worker Diane is vacationing in Italy every year on borrowed money, let her. You don't need to match her lifestyle. The pressure to live up to other standards is toxic, and it robs you of the opportunity to carve out your own path, guided by what you truly need. Protect your mental clarity and emotional well-being. They are far more valuable than any material possession or external validation. Choose peace over pride. Letting go of the need for a constant comparison frees you from unnecessary stress. When you stop chasing other people's dreams and start living in alignment with your own values, you create space for peace. It's not about being rich in the worldly sense. It's about being rich in purpose. Because here's the painful truth. The rich can afford mistakes. They can afford to fail, buy and discard, try again. But for most of us, that's not the case. Every decision matters. So, why fill your life with things that don't truly contribute to your well-being? Focus on what's truly important. Meaningful experiences, genuine relationships, and inner peace. These are the treasures that will sustain you, not fleeting things. Step 2. Avoid new debt at all costs. Debt is a trap, a weight that pulls you down, especially as you get older. For many, it becomes more than just a financial burden. It becomes a prison. If you can avoid borrowing, do so at all costs. Debt isn't just a temporary inconvenience. It can shape your future in ways that are difficult to reverse. When it comes to new debt, the safest and wisest course is to cut it out completely. You don't need it, and you certainly don't want to risk the stress, worry, and limitations it brings. Take, for instance, the story of Richard and Susan Clark. Last year, they made a decision to sell their modest home in Illinois to help their son buy a house in Dallas. To cover the gap, they took out a loan. But then life threw them a curveball. Richard was diagnosed with cancer, and Susan lost her job. What seemed like a well-meaning decision to help families spiraled into financial chaos. Their retirement savings vanished, and they found themselves falling behind on their new mortgage. The bank, it didn't care about their circumstances. It simply wanted its money. This is a harsh reality of debt. It doesn't offer sympathy, and it doesn't offer solutions when things go wrong. Once you take on debt, you risk your future, your peace of mind, and your freedom. Before you decide to take on any new debt, ask yourself, can I recover if things go wrong? If the answer is no, then walk away. Don't take the risk. Cut new debt entirely by finding ways to live without it. Here are a few strategies to help you completely avoid incurring new debt. Buy used, not new. If you need to make large purchases, opt for secondhand items instead of new ones. Whether it's a car, furniture, or even electronics, purchasing used items can save you a significant amount of money. These things often hold up just as well as brand new ones and allow you to avoid borrowing for things that quickly lose their value. Skip the car payment. Cars are often the largest monthly expense for many people, and the pressure to keep up with others can lead to purchasing new or even secondhand cars on credit. Instead, avoid buying a car on loan entirely. Use public transportation, carpool, or even consider biking. Not only will this save you money on monthly payments and insurance, but it will also free you from the financial stress of car ownership. Lie below your means. No exceptions. The foundation of avoiding debt is to live well below your means. This doesn't just mean cutting back on luxuries. It means choosing simplicity over excess. Reevaluate what you truly need and what adds value to your life. Live in a home that's affordable. Take vacations that don't require you to borrow and opt for experiences that are meaningful rather than material. Cut back on unnecessary subscriptions. Subscriptions to streaming services, gyms, magazines, or even premium apps can quickly add up. Eliminate non-essential subscriptions and only keep the ones that truly add value. This will free up money and prevent you from taking on debt to cover these recurring costs. Small changes in your monthly expenses can make a significant difference over time. Pay with cash, not credit. One of the easiest ways to avoid new debt is to pay with cash or a debit card. This way, you only spend what you have. Credit cards may seem like an easy way to buy what you want now and pay later, but the interest rates can accumulate quickly and trap you in debt. By using cash, you control your spending and avoid the temptation of taking on credit that you may not be able to repay. Don't borrow for non-essential purchases. Resist the temptation to borrow for anything that isn't absolutely necessary. Whether to vacation, a new gadget, or home improvements, don't take on debt for non-essential items. Saving for these things ahead of time will not only help you avoid debt, but also allow you to enjoy them without the stress of paying off a loan in the future. Prioritize savings over spending. Building an emergency fund is crucial to avoiding the need for loans when unexpected expenses arise. Focus on saving rather than spending, and create a buffer that will protect you in times of crisis. Aim to set aside at least 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. This fund will ensure you never have to take on new debt to cover an emergency. Create a debt-free mindset. Perhaps the most important aspect of avoiding debt is shifting your mindset. Adopt a debt-free mentality where your goal isn't just to avoid taking on new debt, but to eliminate any existing debt and live without the financial burden. This might mean downsizing, cutting out unnecessary luxuries, and committing to living within your means, but will pay off in the long run. Step 3. Stay quiet, stay healthy, and say what you can. This is the strategy one like to call the winter strategy. In nature, when winter arrives, animals don't rush about frantically. Instead, they hibernate. They retreat into quiet spaces, conserve their energy, and protect themselves. This isn't a time for excess or unnecessary exertion. It's a time for stillness, reflection, and preparation. You must do the same. In your later years, it's easy to feel the pressure of keeping up with the rapid pace of the world. But the truth is, this is your time to slow down and conserve. Focus on what truly matters: your health, your peace of mind, and your financial stability. Just like animals prepare for the cold by conserving their resources, you too should protect and nurture your energy. First and foremost, eat better. Fuel your body with nutritious food, as it's not just about staying healthy, but also about maintaining the energy and clarity needed to make sound decisions. Move your body. This doesn't mean pushing yourself to extremes, but taking simple steps like walking, stretching, or engaging in light exercise that supports mobility and longevity. Managing stress is another vital piece of this strategy. Instead of allowing anxiety to overwhelm you, focus on calming practices such as meditation, breathing exercises, or simply taking time to reflect quietly. But it's not just about health. It's also about your financial well-being. Save money, even if it's only a small amount every month. It might feel insignificant now, but like a small seed quietly growing under the surface, these small savings will accumulate over time. Even if you can only put aside $50 a month, that's still $600 a year, and over time, this adds up. This kind of quiet saving can be incredibly powerful when you need it most. Let's take a look at the example of George Mason, a 63-year-old retired truck driver from Oregon. He never earned more than $45,000 a year, yet he lived frugally, focused on his health, and saved small amounts consistently. Today, George isn't wealthy in terms of material wealth, but he's at peace. He's built a solid foundation over time by making small, consistent choices that allowed him to live comfortably and without financial stress. This approach is not about accumulating wealth for the sake of status or competition. It's about finding peace and simplicity. In your later years, your goal shouldn't be to chase after more. It should be to live more mindfully. Focus on what you have, not on what you don't. This quiet, steady approach can provide a sense of contentment that far exceeds what money can buy. Now, let's reflect on a piece of wisdom from the famous Chinese strategist Sima Yi. Sima Yi, known for his patience and strategic thinking, didn't act impulsively. He waited. He understood that true strength comes not from rushing into every battle, but from knowing when to step back and wait for the right moment. He remained still, like a turtle hiding in its shell, until conditions were right for him to emerge with clarity and power. You can take the same approach in your life. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, this is your moment to pause and reflect. It's not too late. In fact, this is your time to prepare for the future. You don't need to rush to catch up with the fast pace of life. Instead, focus on realigning your priorities. Shed what no longer serves you, whether it's excess material possessions, outdated goals, or unnecessary stress. Take the time to sharpen your mind by investing in knowledge, self-reflection, and mental clarity. Protect your energy by limiting exposure to distractions and negative influences. Thriving in older age isn't about speed. It's about strategy, timing, and knowing when to move. Just like Sima E, you don't need to make noise or rush ahead. What matters most is recognizing the right time to act and knowing that when the moment comes, you'll be ready. By choosing to stay quiet and conserve your resources now, you'll be better positioned to thrive when the time is right. This strategy isn't about waiting passively for things to happen. It's about acting with purpose and intention. It's about living mindfully, investing in your health, saving for the future, and not allowing the pressures of the world to dictate your pace. Like the animals in winter, you're preparing for your next season, a season where you can emerge stronger, clearer, and more at peace than ever before. Remember, this is your time, a time to build strength, preserve your energy, and wait for the moment when you can step forward with clarity and purpose. Final thoughts. Life isn't always fair. We all know that. Sometimes it feels like the world is stacked against us, and the obstacles seem endless. You might wonder why some things seem so hard, while others get a smoother ride. It's frustrating, it's disheartening. But let's face it, life's challenges are a reality we all must contend with. But here's the truth that often gets lost in the noise. Life can still be beautiful, and it's still within our power to shape our own path. Despite the unfairness, despite the struggles, you can take back control of your life. You have the ability to rise, to redefine your circumstances, and to reclaim what's been taken from you. It might not happen overnight, and it might require more strength than you ever thought you had. But the key is to not lose sight of what's possible. Every day is an opportunity to begin again, to make decisions that reflect the life you truly want to live, not the one you've been handed. If this message resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need a reminder, someone who feels like they're carrying the weight of the world alone. Let them know they're not alone. We're all walking this journey together, and sometimes we just need a nudge, a spark of hope to reignite the strength within us. Every word shared, every connection made, reminds us that we're not isolated in our struggles. We're part of something much larger, a shared human experience. Thank you for taking the time to listen, to reflect, and to be open to new possibilities. Your time is precious, and I truly appreciate you spending some of it here with me. Remember, no matter where you are right now, you're capable of amazing things. Stay strong, stay wise, and never stop believing. Because just like the seasons change, your spring is coming. Keep pushing, keep evolving, and hold fast the belief that better days are on the horizon. See you next time